What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the garage. So in my last video talking about the 79, I kind of explained that the exhaust was completely rotted out, and I showed you my little ghetto fix there, and mentioned I was going to pull the exhaust out of the blue car and toss it in this one. Fingers crossed that it all fits. But yeah, here's a look at the system that I showed off in a previous video, with showing a couple of revs of this thing and kind of the sound. Very simple, just a MagnaFlow. I think it's an 11255 muffler or something like that, and just straight out. One thing to that we did to stiffen this up and keep it from moving is change from those two rubber donuts to a solid mount here. The brackets for those donuts just unscrew, and you can put one of those in. So again, fingers crossed that that will line up the same with this car. There is an O2 bung on this one. This one's carbureted, so it doesn't have any of that stuff, so I'll have to get a plug. I think I mentioned I might put in a resonator in here somewhere just to quiet it down a little bit, just to not get a ticket again. But now that this one's out, we'll get this car lifted up and start tackling removing the exhaust from this one, which I hope isn't too bad. All right, well, there we go. There's the old system out. Yeah, it came out really easy. You can see where it was broken there, and broken right up here at that mount that mounts to the bell housing. Alright, so moving it on, the creeper and this little thing that I made worked really well, actually. I'm surprised. Before we move on, I'm gonna have to remove one of those little round things that the exhaust donut fits on, and then this hard mount here will just bolt up to that one there, and that'll be nice and solid. Well, unfortunately the install hasn't gone as smoothly as I'd hoped. And that's primarily due to, I think, that the exhaust was built for this car, which is considerably lower. So I don't think it's a big issue. I think I just need to get some longer hangers, and then maybe just sort of extend that little bracket there. That will be the only sort of pain in the ass one. But I think in the back, just some longer hangers to keep it down a bit lower. Because the main issue is up in and around here. With the hangers from the other car, they weren't even close to reaching the pegs, but this thing was already touching, so there was no way that was going to happen. But got this kind of secured now in such a way that just for mocking up, these are the donuts. So I think if I have a 4-inch hanger in the back, that should give me enough clearance there around the rear axle and the sway bar, and yeah, it should sit nice. Alright, so the exhaust is on, but in a super hokey, janky fashion. So they didn't have longer hangers, so I'm gonna have to go to the exhaust shop tomorrow anyways. But in the meantime, what they did have was a 3-inch hanger, and then I used the original hanger cut a slot out of there, put a bolt through it, and that's at least holding it up for now. Let's see if I can get up. Slide it up in the best way to go. Oh, so for that guy up there, I don't know if you can see that or not. So that is super ghetto as well. It's like almost, I don't know, it's almost too embarrassing to be showing you guys, but I gotta do what I gotta do. So that's just a piece of steel that I drilled out, 2 holes, and yeah, one into the mounting hole, and then one into the hanger. We are gonna lose the intake preheater hose, but I don't really think that does anything anyways. It's not like it's minus 50 here. So yeah, I guess we'll start it up and annoy the neighbors, I guess. Not too bad. It's running a little bit weird though. There's definitely a massive exhaust leak at the manifold, so maybe I'll go and try and seal that up. So I've just added some sealant and tightened up that manifold gasket, and we'll just give it some time here and start it up again, and maybe give it a couple of revs and see if she sounds good or she keeps leaking. But either way, it's enough to get it to the shop, so not a complete failure at this point. Alright guys, so it's a few days later, back from the exhaust shop, and it was kind of a total fail trying to fit this on here, because I'm not sure if you can see. Well, I'm not sure. You can kind of get a look there. We did have to go up and over the rear axle rather than under. This bracket here had to be remade, and they did find some pinholes in the sort of downpipe, so they fixed that up. And still kind of the same idea in the back here, but there just wasn't enough room to come down below the sway bar, whereas there was on the blue car. But it's all in there now. New gasket up front, and yeah, it does sound pretty good. So it's cold right now. I'll give it a start and I'll let it warm up for you, and give it a few revs. So this right now is cold start, and the high idle's on with the manual choke at about 1,500 to 2 grand. As you can tell, it starts up every time. A little bit of blue there, but not the worst. And yeah, we'll just let this warm up, and then give it a few revs once it's not cold. pretty much what it sounds like at idle. It's still a little bit cold, and I'm not sure how well the carb is tuned, but and it seems to have developed a squeak in the engine bay. But yeah, no, it's pretty tame at idle. It is a bit lumpy though. It sounds pretty good. Alright, sorry for the wind noise there, but no, that's the new old exhaust from that car on the old B21A. Sounds pretty good in my opinion. Somehow it ended up being a little more rowdy than this one, but no, all in all, pretty happy with it. Kind of bummed it didn't actually just bolt right on, but I should have guessed that was going to happen considering this car is like a foot higher than that one. But anyways, that's it for today. Thanks for watching.